Green, red, and beige flags. Understanding relationship signals. When we talk about relationships or friendships, we often hear about green flags and red flags. These terms represent the signals that people send out. Based on these signals, you may know whether they are suitable for you or not. Let's look at some examples of green and red flags. Green flags are positive signs of a healthy relationship. For example, if someone respects your boundaries, it shows they care about your feelings and limits. Another green flag is when a person is willing to be vulnerable in front of you. This means they feel comfortable sharing their emotions with you. They trust you and are open to deepening the relationship. On the other hand, red flags are negative signs that show something might be wrong. A classic example of a red flag is when someone constantly puts you down or makes you feel bad about yourself. These unhealthy behaviors will someday damage the relationship.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to English for You. I'm Mike.
And I'm Laura.
And today we are beginning our 2-day article all about flags. Flags in relationships. Interesting. When I hear flags, I think of, countries' flags.
Exactly.
Right? A symbol of a country that we see flying from the top of a pole. That would be a flag. Taiwan, of course, has a lovely red, white, and blue flag. But we use flags for all sorts of other things, not just to represent countries. And sometimes flags are used for giving us information, especially information about where there is danger or where there is safety.
Oh.
Now, a lot of you might know if you go to the beach, for example, and you see a red flag down by the water, this might mean it's not safe to go swimming there. Someone is telling you there's danger. They're telling you to stop. Red flags often mean danger. And in the same way, a green flag, like a green light, when you're driving on the street, that might mean safety. That might mean good or go or don't worry or something like that. So we're using those colors of flags. And then a third one, too, as it says in the title, understand relationship signals. Green, red, and beige flags. Understanding relationship signals. So I'm guessing like a red flag in a relationship is a sign that maybe this isn't going to be a good, healthy relationship. Is that right?
I think so.
Is that the basic idea? Like if your boyfriend or girlfriend never answers the phone and doesn't tell you where they are, that could be a red flag, right? They might be doing tricky things. It might be hard to trust a person. I guess a green flag would be good thing. He's really kind to his mom. She's a good girl. They're a good person. This is a green flag. So let's get into the article. It should be very interesting. I'm also curious about a beige flag.
Same.
That's kind of like a light brown flag.
Right.
What does that mean in a relationship? Well, to find out about this and much, much more, let's get into the article. And we begin with a basic introduction to these flags, especially the ones we know about more commonly, the green and red. It says, when we talk about relationships or friendships, we often hear about green flags and red flags.
OK, 所以课文一开始呢，我们就提到有关就是人际关系啦，或者是朋友啊、友谊的时候，我们常会听到这个 green flags 绿旗啊，还有 red flags 红旗。OK, so maybe you can explain these terms a little bit.
All right. Well, it says these terms represent the signals that people send out. All right, that's why the article explains it. They're representing the signals that people send out. All right, let's look at these words. To represent is to basically to stand for something, to symbolize something. Remember how we talked about countries' flags, national flags, right? When we see the national flag, we know that that flag, even though it's just colored cloth, we know that the color of it, the shape of it, the design, that flag stands for a certain country. When you see a flag with 13 red and white stripes, blue rectangle in the upper left corner with many stars, you look at that and go, oh, that's the American flag. That represents America. For example, the Olympic rings represent the 5 continents united through sport. And we also had this word signal. Signal means an event or action that shows what someone feels, what exists, or what is likely to happen. For example, A dog wagging its tail is typically a signal of happiness.
OK， 哇，我们刚刚看到好多字哦。首先，我们先来提一下名词 term 这个字呢，是措辞说法，而 represent 这个动词有代表啦，或是象征的意思。For example, our school team will represent us at the regional science competition. 我们的校队将代表我们参加区域科学比赛哦。接着我们又看到 signal 这个名词就是征兆的意思。For example, the dark clouds are a signal that it might rain soon. 我们又看到片语 send out。就是发出这样的意思哦。For example, the teacher will send out the project instructions via email. 老师将透过电子邮件发送计划指示哦，所以要记得收你的 email.
Okay, back to our article. Now we're talking about the signals that people send out in relationships or friendships. The article explains it by saying, based on these signals, green flags, red flags, for example, you may know whether they are suitable for you or not. So let's take a look at our language in focus, then we'll come back to discuss suitable.
好的，我们今天的 language in focus 要看到的是主词加 may or might or must 后面接上 be 动词或者是动词哦。首先我们来看到的情态助动词 must, may, might 可以用来表示对现在情况的推测或者是可能性。那后面我们要加上原形动词，第一个就是 may 我们来看一下哦，它是确定的程度略低于 must。我们来举个例子比较清楚哦。For example, she may be at the library right now, so I'll call her later. 她现在可能在图书馆，所以我会晚点再打电话给她哦。第二个我们要看到的是 might， 它的确定程度是最低的哦。那虽然 might 也可以作为 may 的过去时态，但在表推测的用法中并不是时态区别，只是单纯表示可能性的程度不同哦。For example, you might want to try the new cafe downtown. I've heard good things about it. 你可能会想去市中心的新咖啡厅试试看哦。我听说那里不错。那最后要看到的是什么呢？就是 must， 表示说话的人认为某件事情必定是正确的。For example, she must have left early if she's not at home now.如果他现在不在家，他一定是早早离开了。那注意上述的情态助动词可搭配 not 形成否定句哦。John may not join us for dinner because he has a late meeting. John 可能不会和我们一起吃晚餐，因为他有一个很晚的会要开哦。
Back to our article. Yeah, we had the word suitable there, finding out if someone is suitable for you or not. Suitable, that just means it fits you. It works for you, all right? You won't have to change things too much. If it's suitable, it fits the situation. It fits what you want to do with it. Here's an example about that too. I don't think jeans and a t-shirt are really suitable if you are going to a wedding party. You should dress a little bit more nicely than that.
For sure. Okay, suitable 是什么呢？这个形容词就是适合的、相配的哦。For example, this movie is suitable for children of all ages. 这部电影适合各个年龄的就是小朋友都可以观看哦，所以它没有就是什么暴力啊或是不可以看到的。那 suitable for somebody or something 就是对什么什么是适合的，或是与什么什么是相配的。For example, this software is suitable for beginners who are just starting to learn programming.
Let's look at some examples of green and red flags. Now that we kind of understand that green flags are good, red flags are bad, green flags are positive signs of a healthy relationship. These are good things about a person, things that will make you and that person happier and your relationship better. For example, if someone respects your boundaries, it shows that they care about your feelings and limits. Yeah, you have to respect another person, and you also should try to respect their boundaries, all right? Kind of things that they feel comfortable doing or would rather not do. If you respect their boundaries, even if it's something that might not be exactly what you want, but you respect it because it's what they want, it shows that they care or you care about their feelings and limits. All right, so basically, if you're like, I want to always look at your phone and see who you're sending messages to, and the other person says, no, that's my private information. That's my private messages to my friends. I'm not doing anything wrong, but I shouldn't have to show it to you. And then you go, okay, I will trust you. I won't ask to do that ever again. You're showing that you will respect that person's boundaries.
Yes, learn to respect. 那名词 sign 在这里指的是就是迹象啦、征兆啦，而 boundary 刚刚我们有提到这个名词就是人际关系的界限。所以回到课文是说，我们来看一下这个绿旗和红旗的例子。Green flags 绿旗是一段健康关系的正面的迹象哦。例如，如果一个人他尊重你的人际关系的界限，就表示他们是非常关心你的感受啦，还有界限。像是刚刚 Mike 提到一个很棒的例子哦，就是有人可能不喜欢另外一半偷查他们的手机啊，或者是讯息啊，那你就要学会尊重。
Another green flag is when a person is willing to be vulnerable in front of you. Okay, so this would be another good thing to see. Another green flag in your relationship is when a person, maybe your boyfriend, girlfriend, someone like that, is willing to be vulnerable in front of you. Vulnerable basically just kind of means they're willing to show their emotions in front of you.
Vulnerable, 这个字有点难哦，这是一个形容词，它有着身体啊或是精神脆弱的、易受伤的。所以回到课文是说，另一个绿旗的例子是，当一个人他愿意在你面前表现出脆弱的一面，这是非常 OK 的哦。
And what does it mean if someone's willing to be vulnerable? Well, as the article says, this means they feel comfortable sharing their emotions with you. All right, they don't feel that they have to keep or hide or hold their emotions in. This might also especially be true with young men, right? Sometimes boys don't cry and, things like that. But if you have a boyfriend or a male friend who feels comfortable telling you about what they're scared of or sad about or worried about or troubles from their past, and they do it in a very open way, feeling completely comfortable with showing their emotions to you, even if it could be a little embarrassing or something, that is a good thing to do. It's much better than that person who's always, swallowing their emotions, keeping them inside. I'm fine. Even when clearly they're not. It's better to kind of let your emotions out and show people how you feel rather than try to just be tough or brave or something like that. As the article says, they trust you and are open to deepening the relationship. And that, again, is a good thing.
所以刚刚提到就是为什么要在一个人面前表现脆弱的一面，因为这表示他们感到很自在，愿意跟你分享他们的情感。Okay, so deepen, what does this word mean?
To deepen is basically it could be to go deeper, right? If you're digging a hole and you make the hole go down further, you are deepening that hole, making it go deeper. But we also use it in things where we're not really judging size or how far down something goes. We're kind of talking about how rich something is, how much emotion and how much freedom and trust and love there is in your relationship. If you make friends with someone just because you like the same TV show, that can be wonderful. But imagine you have that friend and you have the same hobbies or whatever, but then that friend's mother gets sick and you're there when they're in the hospital, you're there when they're scared, you're there to hug them when they're crying and sad. Your relationship will become bigger, it will become richer, it will become more complicated and also much stronger. That would deepen your relationship, right? When people go through tough times together and come through it still friends, their relationship will be much bigger and more interesting and much stronger in the long run, because they've shared these difficult experiences. That type of thing can definitely deepen your relationship. Here's something else that can deepen or get bigger or stronger. Something not so good. Dee Dee's fear deepened when the airplane began to shake and rock from side to side. Oh my gosh.
OK, 刚刚其实在同一句话我们还看到形容词 open 用来表示愿意考虑或是接受的，而 deepen 呢，刚刚有仔细听吗？就是使感受或是关系加深的意思，它是一个动词哦。 For example, their shared experiences helped deepen their friendship. 所以课文是说，哇，这他们很信任你，并愿意加深这段关系，所以在你面前，他们就很自在，然后可以秀出最脆弱的一面。
All right, so trust, respecting boundaries, being vulnerable, sharing your emotions. These are all green flags. These are all good things. Now let's go to the not so good things. It says, on the other hand, red flags are negative signs that show something might be wrong. These are kind of danger signs for a relationship. So we're giving this to you as the opposite. And often when we're talking about the opposite or something that is totally different from what we were talking about before, we would use this expression on the other hand.
没错 on the other hand 就是另一方面，我们在比较两者哦。For example, this restaurant is expensive.On the other hand, the food is delicious.
Okay, a good and a bad there together. Back to the article, let's look at a red flag. Here it says a classic example of a red flag is when someone constantly puts you down or makes you feel bad about yourself. Yeah, if someone is always criticizing you, putting you down, pointing out your mistakes and your flaws, and your weaknesses. I mean, if they do it once in a while just to try to help you in some kind of way, point out something you don't notice that might be a bad thing, that can be okay if you do it in a helpful way. But if they're doing it constantly and they're just doing it to make you feel bad about yourself, not in a way that helps you to improve yourself, but just to make you feel bad all the time or constantly, that can definitely be a red flag. That can definitely put a lot of stress and strain and damage to a relationship. Constantly, all the time. That's what this word means. If you're constantly doing something, you're doing it all the time. I mean, you might not do it when you're sleeping, but the idea is that it doesn't stop. It's always happening. For example, I can't sleep. There's a dog outside that's constantly barking. The dog has barked for 2 hours and never seems to stop.
Constantly 是什么呢？就是经常总是，它是一个副词哦。For example, she is constantly checking her phone for new messages. And put somebody down. 这个是非常不好诶，就是尤其是当众可能贬低某人啦，或是使某人出糗。For example, it's not nice to put someone down just to make yourself look better.所以回到课文是说，另外一方面这个红旗是负面的迹象，表示可能有问题出现。最典型的例子就是红旗当一个人不断的贬低你，或者是让你觉得自己不好，就是 red flag.
All right, these unhealthy behaviors, these red flags and that sort of thing, the article says, these unhealthy behaviors will someday damage the relationship. Okay, yeah, they will definitely cause problems in your relationship. We said someday.Because, of course, everyone's different. Every relationship is different. Someday is just a useful word to say at some time in the future. For example, someday I'd like to visit the famous ruins of Machu Picchu in Peru. I don't have a trip planned for next year or anything.It's just one of those future dreams that I have for some time or someday in the future.
Okay, behavior 刚刚我们还看到这个字它是行为，是个名词而 someday 这个副词就是总有一天，有朝一日。For example, someday I hope to travel the world and experience different cultures. 所以刚刚的课文就是要告诉我们，这种不健康的行为总有一天会损害人际关系。好啦，这就是我们第一天的课文那不想错过更多精彩的 English for You 内容，就快点订阅我们的 YouTube 频道和追踪 Facebook 吧。
All right, let's get to our chat question. Can you think of a red flag you have seen in a friendship or relationship? How did it make you feel and what did you do about it?
Well, a red flag I have seen was when a friend constantly canceled plans without a valid reason.It made me feel unimportant, and I decided to just have an honest conversation with them about how their actions were affecting our friendship, and can you please not do this in the future?
So hopefully you and your friend were able to fix that little problem. All right, guys, we're going to have more tomorrow. So come back and join us for day 2 of our interesting article about red, green, and beige flags. Vocabulary
Review.Represent. The blue man sign on the door represents that it's the men's restroom. Signal. The dark clouds in the sky were a signal that it was going to rain soon. Suitable. The weather was sunny without any wind, which made the day suitable for eating lunch in the park. Deepen. As they spent more time together after school, Annie and Connie's friendship began to deepen. Constantly. Matt is constantly working. He won't even take any breaks after he gets started. Someday. Ronald can't visit Paris now, but he plans to go someday and visit the Louvre Museum.
智慧小补帖
Boundary. Vulnerable. Behavior.